If you're looking for the best coverage for indie wrestling, listen to Aaron and Tom right here at the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show.
Lord, hear me, I just need some motivation. And I got tired of all these rumors and they hate. I feel my best when I'm worry-free. Mama, don't you worry, ain't nobody hurting me. Yeah, Lord, hear me, I just need some motivation.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show. Tonight, our special guest is the one and only Kennedi Copeland. How is it going?
It's going. It's going.
So where are you at tonight?
Oh no. Okay. I'm actually home for once, but not for long because this weekend I'm going to be flying out of Boston and going to Orlando, Florida.
Ooh, nice. Hopefully for work, or is it for pleasure?
I mean, I know you're not supposed to mix the two, but like both.
Yeah. I was down in Orlando in March, and let me tell you, it's just a totally different atmosphere down there. I don't know what it's like in Boston, but where we're at in Kentucky and in Indiana, things are slowly still creeping back to normal. There are still a lot of stores that are still requiring you to wear masks, especially at malls and things of that nature. But when I was in Florida, there was a lot of places that was just free for all, but Disney had it on lockdown. I mean, they were pretty.
Oh, they did.
Oh yeah, they were pretty well. You had a legit mask, not the gas mask, not something, no pantyhose.
Gas mask.
No pantyhose on your face. Like, you had to have the legit thing, or you were not getting in.
Like, listen, if you're gonna wear a gas mask, you might as well just wear a stupid little piece of fabric. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, the crazy part is we've actually, here in Kentucky, there are men who will wear pantyhose and have the crotch part cross your nose just to make fun of the store who said that they had to wear a mask.
Oh my God.
So, what are you gonna do?
God, those aren't even comfortable, like, for regular use. So, like, why do that?
I'll take your word for that. I don't plan on putting on a pair anytime, anywhere. So
I mean, I haven't really worn them since I was like 5, so maybe I was just stubborn back then. Point still stands.
Let's talk about your wrestling career right now. So a lot of people who may not be aware of your wrestling career, you are someone who loves to mix it up. You are not scared, and you do not back down from any challenge that seems to be put in front of you, and that includes hardcore type matches. For anyone who does not know, you can go Google Kennedi Copeland, and there will be pictures of her with things coming out of her head that have been spiked in there and bloodied up.
Is there?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So when you got into wrestling, did you think the hardcore route would be more your style or a technical style?
Honestly, that's a good question. I definitely don't think it was hardcore. But like, it wasn't till further on that I wanted to be more technical. I think what it was is I just kind of didn't actually think that I would do it. I guess I didn't take myself seriously. So I was like, I'm not even gonna, make it far enough along to like decide what I'm going to do. But gradually, as I stuck it out, I was like, okay, technical's kind of my thing. And then hardcore was just a happy accident. And I fell in love with that too. So
talk about the hardcore a little bit. So it takes a special type of person to be able to do some of the things in a hardcore match. But talk about, for me, as someone who has dabbled into wrestling in my past, I always enjoyed that sort of thing because I felt like I could really get a reaction from a crowd. Is that something, an element that you kind of gravitate towards, or is there something in the storytelling, or what is it about hardcore wrestling for you that kind of you fell into?
A little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. So the way it happened was, I was scheduled to face, I had another opponent. Unfortunately, they had gotten injured. But also, and I hate to say it like this because I would never wish injury upon somebody, but I guess fortunately for me, it ended up giving me another opponent, and that was G-Raver. So everybody was like, oh, have fun taking tattoo needles to the head. So I was just like, okay, well, if that's what everybody's expecting, then that's what they're gonna get. I'm a people pleaser, so so yeah, I definitely kind of get a kick out of the reaction, whatnot, but I learned a lot, and I'm still learning, and it is quite fascinating. It's not just my dad likes to refer to it as stunts, so he's like, this isn't even wrestling, you need to stop doing these stunts. I'm like, you don't understand, Dad. There is a science behind it, and I'm totally geeking out right now. But no, I definitely, I enjoy the storytelling aspect of it, and I'm still learning that. But I also like the reaction as well. Who doesn't?
Hardcore is such a weird style because it's something that seems just to circle and come back around. When my first, chance to see hardcore was watching an FMW, and it was Onita wrestle. And then Mick Foley, Terry Funk, Lufisto kind of took it through the 90s into the early 2000s. But right now, there's this rebirth of it again, especially with people like Nick Gage becoming more popular with GCW. And so who are some actual idols that you have kind of looked up to kind of draw inspiration in the hardcore craft?
I'm like I said, I'm still kind of learning. So one of my first few, I guess, hardcore matches, I actually was like, I don't know where to begin or what to study. Of course, I studied a lot of G-Raver's matches, and I was like, okay, that looks fun. But I also tried to draw inspiration from, WWE. So I I relied on Mick Foley versus Edge at WrestleMania 22. I think it's common knowledge that I am a huge Edge head rather.
Not related.
I dabbled in a little. No, that'd be kind of weird. Considering I'm obsessed with him.
Hey, Tom got out of wrestling in the time that Edge really began to rise. He had fallen out of it for a little bit, but I was actually at WrestleMania 22 in Chicago with Foley and Edge. And the one thing about Mick Foley during that time frame was he would elevate people like he did Randy Orton, and then he would also elevate people like, are you there?
Yes, sorry, I had no idea what just happened.
You're good. So he would elevate people like Randy Orton through the hardcore type matches, and then he also took Edge to another level as well in those matches as well. So what is it about Edge that really drew you to him, and how early of a character of Edge, when he was with Christian or just when he was on the singles run?
Yeah, even before that, so I've been watching for a long time. And I just remember seeing him, and I was like 5 or something. And I was like, oh my God, that guy is cute. But no, it was when he first debuted, and he was just some I don't know, angsty, brooding guy. I guess I've had a type ever since I was young. But no, I've pretty much followed him throughout his entire career. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it was just his looks, and then it went from there.
It's kind of weird because my daughter is 9, and when she watches wrestling, if the boys are on, she won't watch it. like she turns
Yeah.
her head and watches, or does something else or draws. But at the divas slash female talent, it doesn't matter what era I'll turn it on, she will stop and watch. And I think that's the way wrestling has
Yeah.
really progressed over the last couple of decades, is that, you don't have to be Cena, Rock, Austin to draw people in. You can be Sasha, Bailey, Charlotte and draw people in.
I mean, I can relate. She's a smart kid. For a while, I actually would only watch, at the time, it was the Divas. I would only watch like the Divas segment. So it was like Mickey James, Melina, Beth Phoenix. That's all I would follow for a little bit. So yeah.
Now, do you feel like that was because you were interested in trying to do that as a career, or was it you were just more entertained with what they were doing?
Again, a little bit of column A, column B. I look to them as, they weren't just, they're, beautiful women, but they weren't just hired for their looks. They worked their asses off. And not knocking anybody who doesn't have previous wrestling experience, but I look to them as, okay, so it is kind of possible to get hired, not just because you're a model, because I'm not a model. So it kind of gave me hope. And also, honestly, it was pretty fresh what those girls were doing when they would mix it up. So I enjoyed both aspects.
Are you an emo kid?
At heart, I would say I am.
Is that
I
where?
gave it away.
So Ocean Avenue is where you hail from. So is that a reference to Yellow Card?
It sure is.
Yeah.
Some people are like, "Oh, are you from Brooklyn?" I'm like, "Is there actually like an Ocean Avenue?" So yes, it is a nod.
It's so amazing though, because there are a lot of talent that we've had on the show who consider themselves emo. And so it's so weird of how emo music flows right into professional wrestling. So what is it about emo type music that you relate to?
I guess it's the angst. And honestly, I feel as though a lot of things like intertwine. So, music and wrestling are pretty heavily connected. One of my buddies is actually a stand-up comedian, so we'll exchange horror stories. And we're just both like, wow, they're very similar.
So looking at going forward with your career, what are some goals that you have for the near future?
Well, I always like to say that my number one goal is to just continue having fun. I guess I'm on a little bit of a roll. If you ask some people, they're like, man, you're like everywhere. Like I see you all over like IWTV, and I'm just kind of like, I'm just happy to be here. But I guess really like I'd be stupid to not want to continue this upward trajectory. So I don't want this momentum to stop, really. So nothing specific, but I just want to keep grinding, I guess.
I feel like there's a lot of talent out there right now that coming out of COVID is more motivated than ever. Do you feel that way?
I do. Yeah. I honestly don't know if that specifically applies to me. Obviously COVID was a very serious thing to happen. I mean, you can't even like put it into words. But personally for me, I'm shy and quiet by nature. So having to, social distance and like not go out, I was perfectly okay with that. So I think that really did give me some time to just pause and reflect on like what I wanted to do. And again, that was just to have fun. So when all these companies started doing tapings and whatnot, I don't want to say it took some of the pressure off. It definitely took some of the pressure off of having like a live audience with fans, but you're still wrestling in front of your peers. So that's kind of like a whole different level of pressure. So I tried to take advantage of that. And so I tried to like, you know, hone my skills that way. So I've just been trying to take what I learned there, and just bring that everywhere. But I can definitely see how other talents are, eager to get out there and perform in front of fans. Not saying that I'm not, but that's just like, more anxiety.
So talking about, you know, liking the social distancing, and where, you know, part of COVID, you were kind of like, okay, some of those things. How is it for someone like you, if that's kind of how things are, to go into all these different locker rooms, to work for all these different promotions, and try to intermingle, being that way? Because I'm the same way. Until I get to know somebody, I don't really want to be around anybody, and I know it's always hard for me to go somewhere and meet new people.
I feel you. It does take a lot out of me. I like to think it like takes a lot more out of me than like the actual wrestling does. So that's why I try to be very open about it. It's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed of. That's just how I'm programmed. It is a little bit difficult because I understand that respect is a very big thing in wrestling. I don't always participate in etiquette. I don't want people to think I'm a bitch. I just am very awkward. So, you know, it's a struggle, but I think like the real ones know, you know what I mean? I think they understand that I don't mean any disrespect. But yeah, no, it's definitely a challenge, you know, but
All right, so
my
every time we have
service sucks.
hey, let me tell you, it could be the cornfields of Kentucky. It could be.
No, I'm telling you, it's me.
One thing I like to always try to do is I try my hardest to let people try to get to know our talent and guest on the show a little bit better. Are you down for some rapid fire questions?
Oh God, I always panic.
It's okay. Let's just go with whatever comes out of your mouth first.
Woo! Okay, I've been working on having a filter, so we'll see.
Okay. We're in Boston. Where are we going to eat?
Oh God. So I'm not actually from Boston. I just fly out of there. Oh God, I don't know. I don't know much in Boston, actually.
Okay, so we're in your hometown. Where you take?
I'm already failing at this.
You're fine.
Oh God. We have some pretty killer pizza joints. There's one called Venezia. Some people say Venezia. It's Venezia. So we'll go with a pizza joint because you can never go wrong with that.
Do you do pineapple on your pizza?
No. Hopefully I don't lose it. Okay, in my defense, I don't do pineapple like at all. So it's not that it doesn't belong on pizza, it just doesn't belong anywhere. Hopefully I don't lose fans.
In your hardcore career so far, was there a spot/stunt, as your father likes to say, that you were thinking, oh Lord?
Yeah. I think it was when G-Raver did the Razor's Edge onto an ironing board. I'm terrified of that move just like normal. So to do it onto an object, I was like, well, like literally, I just thought in my head, welp. So that one I would definitely go with. It ended up being a lot of fun though.
Your idea of a dream vacation is where?
Oh, I would say more like a staycation. It would just be my couch. It's so lazy.
If you had your opportunity right now to wrestle any talent that you have not yet wrestled, who would you want to wrestle?
Oh God. I mean, I was always obsessed with the aforementioned Mickey James growing up. So that's always like the first one that pops in my head. just to make like teenage me happy. So I'll go with her.
NWA, all women's pay-per-view, called Kennedi Copeland.
Yeah, I've been tagged in a few of those things where they're like, who do you want to see? And I'm like, please, somebody see this.
It's kind of really exciting to see. I really don't know why WWE has not gone back and done the Evolution pay-per-view. I thought
Either.
they did a really good job with that. So
I thought so too. And I mean, I'm not just saying that because I am female, but I honestly like enjoyed it. Oh well, they're lost.
yeah. Your favorite movie of all time is what?
Ooh, probably The Dark Knight.
Okay.
That's my go-to.
Okay, so here we go. Okay.
Oh boy.
Who's the best Batman?
See, I like Christian Bale, like not just as Batman, but like as an actor. So I would definitely have to go with him.
See, I really agree with that too. I know a lot of people like Keaton.
Yeah, I like him too, but I only liked I didn't actually like just the 1989 Batman. I'll watch it, but I preferred like Batman Returns, so he would be my second favorite, but only because I liked him in the one. Then everyone else just kind of sucks.
Everyone always craps on Adam West, but that 19
I've heard.
Batman was great.
I can't say that I've seen that in its entirety, so like, who am I to judge?
The new The Batman looks actually pretty good. I'm actually was it Robert Pattinson?
Okay, you know what? I saw like a screenshot or whatever, like when they released a picture of it. That he does look. I wasn't always like a huge fan of his growing up or whatever. But I can look past the whole Twilight thing. You gotta do what you gotta do for your career. But I think he looks pretty good in it. So I'll definitely give that a shot.
What matchup right now for you when you look at your career and you want someone to go and check out a Kennedi Copeland match, would you recommend?
I think the last one that I recommended actually was versus Matt Mikowski. A little biased because that is one of my personal favorites. I remember telling my dad, I was like, I get to face a dude that was on Bellator, and he's like, you need to stop. But yeah, no, I just I think that kind of shows how versatile I can be. That I can hang with the big boys, I like to think. So definitely go with that.
And you had dabbled in some MMA, correct? Like training wise, as far as your jiu-jitsu.
I do mainly. Yeah. Yep. I do mainly that. I did take a few Muay Thai classes. I am much too uncoordinated for that because at least with jiu-jitsu, you get to be on the ground. So props to whoever does that. I'm not good at it.
All right. Tell everyone out there where they can find you wrestling next and where they can also find you on social media.
Okay, so I just made a post on my Facebook, mostly so I could keep track of where I'm going to be. But this weekend, I'm going to be at No Peace Underground on the 4th of July. What a way to celebrate. The weekend after that, I will be at NFW. And then the weekend after that, H2O. You'll find me there often. I consider that my home. And as far as social media goes, I'm on Instagram as, oh God, I always struggle with this, the Kennedi Copeland. And then on Twitter, it's Kennedi Copeland. But wherever there should be an E, I had to put a 3 because every other username was taken. So if you can find me, then props.
Awesome. Well, Kennedi, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I greatly appreciate it. It sounds like
Thank you.
Ever since the pandemic and stuff starting to get back to normal, your career is starting to take off, like you said, a little bit. You're actually really active and busy, and best of luck to you going forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And sorry we had to keep rescheduling this. I'm glad we could finally
All
do it.
good.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, if we're rescheduling due to people being successful, it's fine. The one thing we love for people to at least let us know what's going on. That's the one thing that we ask is just like, hey, if you say need to reschedule, we're good with it. 100%, no problems there because we've got lives too, and there's times where.
Appreciate.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. For everybody out there, make sure you all have a safe 4th of July weekend. If there's a wrestling show out there, get out, support these men and women. And I'd be kind of jealous. There's nothing coming around where we're at this weekend, but lucky for y'all.
Oh, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, PWTs until actually the end of the weekend has a sale going on. So get yourself some of our merch over there as well. Pick yourself up a copy of my book, Independent Road: A Wrestler's Journey. Special shout out to Rob Nelson and Wrestling Popcast for the shout out this past week as well. Sales are starting to climb back up again. Greatly appreciate that as well. For everyone out there, thank y'all very much, and we'll see y'all later in the week.